Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is the retirement of Charles Barkley a warning sign or a warning to sports analysts? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you go ahead and check out Dreamerspro Max, online sports community, place where you can talk about basketball, chat live during games, so many other cool things. So if you guys are interested in that, be sure to check that out. We have that linked in the description below. And also make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join the channel. So all of you know that Charles Barkley is one of the greatest NBA players of all time. He was kind of like an undersized power forward, and he had a great career, and he ultimately ended up being one of the 50 greatest NBA players in NBA history. So he had an illustrious basketball career. He never won a title, but everybody knew that Charles Barkley was the man when he was playing. And I think he ended up going to one championship round where he played against Michael Jordan, and he lost to Michael Jordan. But there've been so many great players that have lost to Michael Jordan, right? So many guys that would have championship rings if you just kind of put them all together. If it wasn't for Michael Jordan, you can think of Reggie Miller, you can think of Patrick Ewing, you can think of Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp. You know, all of these guys that Jordan stopped from winning titles. So, you know, there's no shame in that. But I think Charles Barkley today is best known for for his work off the court, because he's on by far the best NBA sports show on TV and inside the NBA with Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kenny Smith. Now, Kenny Smith is funny. I think Kenny Smith is from New York, but Kenny Smith is just an interesting guy, man, because Kenny Smith be talking. He'll be saying his point, and you be listening to him, and he's talking, and at the end of his point, you're like, this guy just spoke for like 2 minutes, but said absolutely nothing. So Kenny Smith is pretty funny. Of course, you have Shaq on the show, who is definitely the most sensitive. I know we did a video on this before, but Shaq takes everything personally, and he's always ready to, you know, he would just Google me. You know how Shaq is. But with Charles Barkley, I think Charles Barkley is the best sports analyst on TV by far. I don't really think it's close. I don't even think it's close. And I think most people agree on this. And I think the things that make him good are this. Number one, his honesty. Charles Barkley generally is going to say what he thinks, right? He really doesn't care. He's going to speak his mind. I think the other thing that makes him funny, makes him good, is his humor. Charles Barkley is actually a funny dude. Like he is a funny dude. Like he was like, I mean, I was watching the thing that he said yesterday, talking about Shaq. Like the first time he met Shaq, he said the first two things, one of the first things that I thought was damn he ugly, and then another one is like damn he's big. Like I just thought it was fun. Like who says that? I mean, so Charles Barkley is funny, and I think what also makes him funny is his accent, his southern accent. Let's just be honest. People with southern accents are funny, man. Let's just be honest. Think of Shannon Sharp. Like it's just they're just funny. Like let's just be honest. Nobody's making. I'm not making fun of them, but it's just the truth, man. The way they pronounce words, like y'all, I guarantee. Like it's just funny. So Charles Barkley is a funny guy, and I think one of the things that also works in his favor is that he never has any rooting interest, in the sense that in all of these playoffs, in all of these years that I've watched him cover the playoffs, I've never heard him like really root for a particular guy, really. Like, you know, and he said it. He's like, I don't care who wins the championship. And I truly believe that. He doesn't have any. I don't think Charles Barkley has a favorite player. No one can accuse him of that. You can't, like me. You know, my favorite player is Kawhi Leonard, or Skip Bayless. His favorite player is Michael Jordan, or Shannon Sharp. His favorite player is LeBron, and Nick Wright is LeBron. Like you can say these guys are biased in some sort of way. You can't say that about Charles Barkley, which is another thing I think that makes him good. And finally, I think is his willingness to call out anyone. Charles Barkley has been known to have public spats with any and everybody. LeBron James, DeMarcus Cousins, Draymond Green. It doesn't matter. He's going to call you out if he doesn't believe that. If he believes a certain thing about you, he's going to say it. Whatever it is, he's going to say it. But with all of those things, he's also been known for being someone that crosses the line at times, right? That goes to the edge and then goes above, you know, and just jumps over the edge. He said some things in the past that have upset some people, whether it may be some of his political views, things that he's had to say about presidents, some of the things that he's had to say about women. Some people thought that it was maybe misogynistic. You know, the whole thing with him in San Antonio, women from San Antonio, we all know those different, like, if you follow Charles Barkley and you follow inside the NBA, you know that sometimes he's going to say some things and you're like, I wish he didn't say that. There's been times that he's cursed on air, on live air. You've seen him curse when he lost his temper. One example of that was when they were talking about, I think it was the Sacramento Kings. They were talking about some organizational moves as far as players, and they were consulting with DeMarcus Cousins, and he felt like, why did consulting with this guy? He hasn't done anything. He cursed there. You saw him go off on Shaq when he was talking about LeBron. Does LeBron not want to compete? So Charles Barkley's had this, and then him and LeBron have gone back and forth. So he's had those things there, right? But I think now Charles Barkley recently spoke about the reason why he decided to retire. And I think it's quite telling. So before I go too far, let me just read some of his quotes as to why he's deciding to retire from inside the NBA. He said, these are some of his comments. He said, if you crack a joke the wrong way, they're like, oh no, you crossed the line. I mean, they won't even let me talk about San Antonio anymore when I'm always talking about their big old women down in San Antonio. That's his word. They're like, Charles, we got one lady who wrote an article, and I'm like, first of all, I didn't call anybody out personally. I didn't call anybody personally fat in San Antonio. I was just joking around. He then went on to say, we've been having fun with this for probably 10 to 15 years. We go to San Antonio. The people are having a blast with it. The people in San Antonio had T-shirts made up. But then he ultimately continued. He said, you just can't. He said, you can't even have fun nowadays without these characters trying to get you canceled and things like that. He said, he ultimately concludes, he said, I'm trying to hang on for another couple of years until I'm 60, and then y'all can kiss my, you know what? He said, I'm only working until 60. I've already told them that I'm not working until the day I die. That's just stupid. And if I don't have enough money by now, I'm an idiot anyway. They should fire me anyway. So just listening to those quotes from Charles Barkley pretty much sums it up, like how he feels, right? Charles Barkley marches to the tune of his own drums, man. He's just, nobody's gonna, put him in a box or force him to apologize for things. He just said to hell with it. And Charles Barkley has what you call FU money. He has enough money to say, to hell with all of these people. I'm done. And he is going to retire from the show, and he's done with it. And he makes some good points, because cancel culture is a real thing. I haven't lived in the States for quite some time, but I'm fully aware of it, and I'm sure it's much more pronounced in the States. But cancel culture is a real thing, and I think there's some examples of that. If you think of Kevin Hart had made some comment, I don't know, it was like over a decade ago, about he made some comments about homosexuals or whatever it was, and somebody was able to go out there and unearth it. And he was forced to apologize, in which I think he apologized, and I think he was supposed to host the Oscars. And they asked him to make another, apology. And he was like, well, listen, I've already apologized for this thing. I don't feel like I need to apologize again. And ultimately, he ended up not hosting Oscars. He said that was one of his biggest dreams, and he didn't do it. So, listen, I think this is a lesson here for all of us. I think whatever you say and do will be held against you. Like, as funny as it sounds, but it's the reality. We had one of our members kind of give an example of that, and I think we just got to be very cognizant of the things that we do and the things that we say. On social media, whatever you post will be held against you. If you're looking for some job, right, and you post stuff of, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing, maybe you're hanging out with friends, maybe you get drunk or whatever, people will go through your past. And in some cases, you'll be scrutinized for it. If you're looking for a job, they'll say, hey, wait a minute, I saw that you were drinking here. So I think some employers have even required access to your Facebook. I've heard. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard things like that. So you definitely need to be careful with the things that you do, especially if they're going to be in public. And you definitely need to be careful about the things that you say. No one is exempt from this. No one is unless you're a child or something like this, but no one is exempt from this. And things you say in the past can be held against you, clearly. Right? If you say certain things and you're in the public eye, they'll be held against you. Even in sports media here, where I am, there's certain things that I say that could be held against me. And I'm sure someone someday is going to go back and look, hey, you remember this guy from Dreamerspro said this and said that, and you should get rid of him. He should be canceled. Blah, blah, blah. It's always going to happen. Right? And it happens to the best of us. It happens to everyone. So I think there's a lesson to be learned here, that just be careful about the things that you say and do, especially on social media. But for those who are in the privileged position to say, you know what, the hell with it, I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want to do, then they're not going to be affected as much. Think of Paul Pierce with ESPN. he had that video with him with those, whatever he was doing, I think on his personal time. And to be quite honest with you, that's what he's doing on his personal time. Well, how is it your business? His time is in his house. However, I think the issue was he mistakenly got it, recorded, and then once it went into the public domain, it was over. ESPN fired him. But Paul Pierce, I think, is worth $40-50 million, and I mean, something like that's not going to affect Paul Pierce as much. Like, he was already rich to begin with, right? But if it's a normal person working at a normal job and that's your main source of income, and you don't have tens of millions of dollars saved, you don't have a house that's worth, I don't know, $4 or $5 million that you can always sell and turn into cash and run off to some island somewhere, you'd be screwed. So I think it's a lesson for everybody. Everyone should just be careful. And I thought this was an interesting subject. So what I want to know from you guys is, number one, what are your thoughts on Charles Barkley? Number two, what are your thoughts about his retirement? Number three, what are your thoughts on some of the things that I've said regarding, just being careful about what you say and do? And do you think that cancel culture has become a little bit problematic, where people aren't allowed to make mistakes? And if you say something, maybe in your adolescent years, so to speak, should those things be held against you? Because one could say, listen, I was a younger person, I wasn't mature mentally, so these things being held against me are unfair. But whatever you guys think, just leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro. Wishing you guys an amazing day and catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.